Hello everyone. So here I am with my super lockdown haircut, carrying on talking about the rule of life. I've been asked to talk today about being intentional about relationship, and the rule of life thing here says have a regular check-in with a close friend, family member or person in your small group. This is a time to draw closer in relationships. Use the power of technology to its full potential, be honest, vulnerable and intentional with your relationships. So I just thought I'd spend a little bit of time today just talking to you about some of the things that I found helpful in the past, some of which I still do, some of which I've done and stopped for a while and started back up with. I think if lockdown's shown me anything, it's shown me how important it is to be intentional with relationship. I think I started quite well back in March when lockdown happened. I used to ring different people up, have chats with people on the phone, get used to video messaging things, spoke to all sorts of people in different parts of their houses, and it was good. And it was, I felt really connected. And then over the weeks, I sort of drifted off a bit and I stopped contacting people. And then I found myself feeling sorry for myself because I sort of got in that sort of mood of, oh, well, can't be bothered to ring anybody up because, well, nobody's ringing me. And then I sorted myself out and started ringing people again. And it is really important, if you feel like ringing someone, pick up the phone, talk to them. It's probably the most important thing you can do in this lockdown at the moment. So what about being intentional about relationship? I guess the place where I'm most intentional about my relationship outside of my home is in my prayer quad. There's a group of four of us, four men. We meet together every 2 or 3 weeks to pray for each other. We pray for ourselves, for each other, for our families, for things that are going on around us and for people that we care for. And it's really good, and it's a place where we're honest with each other, where we share what's going on in our lives. And actually, I found it really helpful. It's great because when I share something that maybe is bothering me, or maybe when one of my friends picks up that I'm not so well, I might get a call later that week to say, oh, Ian, in the prayer quad you said this, and I was just wondering about it, and we have a chat about it, and it's great and it's good, and people pray for me. The other thing we do in our prayer group is we have a messenger group. And I really like our prayer quad messenger group because there's no pressure. We have an agreement that, we can write up stuff there if we want prayer for, but we don't have to write long, lengthy replies. We just do a thumbs up on the screen when we've seen it. And that just takes the pressure, because sometimes these community groups can be really challenging, can't they? You feel you've got to make a reply, but that works for us. So that's probably the way where I get my closest relationships. But there are other things that I do to be intentional about relationships. Some of these things I still do, some of them I've done in the past. One of the things that I used to do is I used to have lots of coffees with guys in town. I used to meet up and have coffee in Coffee One usually. I have to recommend it because my son Joe works there. But I would, the way I would do that, and people don't know that I do this, and I hope it doesn't offend people, but I actually put people in my to-do list as recurring tasks. Some of them recur monthly, some of them recur 6 weekly, some of them recur 3 monthly, and very occasionally 6 monthly. And it just reminds me that I haven't spoken to that person or talked to that person for a while. And I would often, when it comes up as a task, I would often just send a little text off and say, do you fancy a coffee? When I do that well, it's good because it keeps me in contact with people. And also what it does is it means people don't get forgotten, people don't get missed off. The other and I have Teresa and I, we create lists of people. We usually sit down at the beginning of the year and write a list of people who we want to invite round for dinner. And we try really hard to make sure that we invite people who are our friends, who we know well, and also people who we don't know so well. And we've learned over the years that if you just keep inviting your friends, you never meet anybody new. But if you're always inviting people new, you never see your friends and your friends never come to your house. So we try to balance it, and we try to invite people around fairly regularly for a meal, um, but lots of different people. So, it doesn't happen to you very often, but we like to look for people to invite round. And then I guess probably in terms of intentionality, the thing that I found most useful is to pray for people. And the way I like to do that is is to use an app. Now it might not work for you, but for me, I use an app. The app I use at the moment is an app produced by the 365 Prayer, called In a Room. And basically, all it is a list of people. And all it does is, over a certain period of time in the morning, I set the time I want to pray for. At the moment, it's 20 minutes. And in that 20 minutes, I pray for 10 people for 2 minutes each. And it generates this list reasonably randomly out of a list of about 30 to 40 people that I've put in. So it does mean that it's always a surprise who I'm going to pray for next, but it does mean that I intentionally pray for people. And it's amazing how often when I pray for somebody that they either text me or I bump into them or actually I hear about something. And so, that works for me. So that's just a quick few things really that I found helpful about being intentional. I hope you find it helpful. If not, it would be really good to find out what different people do and how different people make sure that they stay in contact and form good relationships with other people. Bye.